Hi, I was a Roman Catholic. I now refer to myself as a bedraggled refugee from the Holy Roman Catholic Church. I greatly appreciate the videos we have just seen from this Islamic source describing the origins of the Bible at the Council of Nicaea. Now this confirms a lot of research I've been doing over the last year or so. It certainly shows how the Roman Catholic Church and Christianity has been living on a basis of lies and deceptions. Anybody with any brains would realise that there's no God, and all the stories about Jesus as Nazarene are just fiction. Now whether he existed or not does not matter. But to have this organisation, the Roman Catholic Church, dragging the people into their churches and dragging money out of them on false pretenses, it should be stopped. People should be taught more science, and those that learn science will realise that logically there can't be a God, there can't be creation. And all the stories about Jesus, born of a virgin, resurrecting from the dead, it's all crap. I just wish the world could be rid of this poison of religion.
I started this little site on YouTube as an answer to the stupidity and nonsense of religion. Now, how did religion come about? It came about as a belief in a supernatural entity that is supposed to have created the world, the universe, and everything in it. Now let's take Judeo-Christianity, which is really the subject of my discussion. What's that based on? It's based on a book called the Bible. Nobody knows who wrote it. Nobody knows exactly when it was written. It seems to be a very poor plagiarism of Egyptian and Babylonian myths. Now it seems to have been compiled around about between 700 and 500 BCE. And a lot of it was compiled during the Hebrew Babylonian exile. Consequently, a lot of the stories in the Bible, including the flood story, are based on Babylonian stories. Now the rivers Tigris and Euphrates used to flood regularly. Now you'd just take some rather primitive people, and the only part of the world they knew was just that little area around the Middle East. They hear the story about a flood, so they assume that the whole world was flooded. Now we don't know whether there was a Noah, and certainly there was no ark built to the size as described in Genesis. It was impossible to build that sort of ark in those days. And even if it was built the way it was described, it wouldn't be very seaworthy. And where did Noah get all the animals from, as ordered by Yahweh, the fictitious god? Wow, Australia, I can't see him going to Australia and trying to catch kangaroos, koalas, and platypuses. And how is he going to feed them? How is he going to feed koalas? They need a very special type of eucalyptus leaf. I mean, the whole thing is just stupid. then this God they talk about, Yahweh, is the most benevolent God. And if you read through all the various books in the Tanakh, you'll see that he either ordered or supervised the complete destruction of cities and extermination of whole peoples. Why? Now, where did the Ten Commandments come from? Well, they came from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, 42 negative confessions. That's what they're based on. Then you come to the daddy of the whole lot, the New Testament, the coming of the Messiah, the birth of Jesus the Nazarene. Now, he certainly was not born of a virgin. Mary was not a virgin. The word virgin is a mistranslation of the Hebrew word Alma, meaning just a young woman of marriageable age. That's all that was. And all these stories about the life of Jesus, now nobody who wrote those, and we don't know who wrote those. The various Gospels, they say, attributed or according to St. Mark, St. Matthew, St. Luke and St. John. That's in the order they were written. Why they were put in the Bible as Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, that's another story. Now, nobody who wrote those ever knew Jesus. So they got all these stories second-hand. And then Saul of Tarsus, or as we know him now, St. Paul, he picked up all these stories second and third hand, allegedly from St. Peter, and then he formed his own branch of Christianity, the Pauline Christianity, which had very different ideas from the Judeo-Christianity that was formed by Peter and Jesus' brother James. That breed of Christianity from Judaism wanted every member of the faithful to be circumcised and to obey the Jewish laws. Paul wouldn't have any of that. He didn't require circumcision for Christians. He didn't require any of that. Alright, there were various branches of this new church formed all in the Middle East. They were all autonomous. Now go to 325 CE, the Council of Nicaea, when the heresies were discussed and heretics were banned from the church and their works burned. Who set that up? The pagan Roman Emperor Constantine I. Why did he set it up? Because he decided that this new Christianity would be very, very handy for political reasons for his Roman Empire. And he incorporated parts of the religion of Mithraism. And the story of Mithra is very, very close to the story of Jesus. Born of a virgin, was crucified and rose from the dead. Now Jesus certainly did not die on the cross. He did not rise from the dead. He married Mary Magdalene. They had 2 children. And after the crucifixion, he went elsewhere. The strong possibility that he went to France. And his offspring formed the Merovingian Empire of France. And offspring from that still exist. They're alive today. Also, who was the first pope? It's not Peter. The first pope was made by Constantine. It was Sylvester I, Saint Sylvester I, the Bishop of Rome, and when Constantine formed the Roman Catholic Church, the Holy Roman Catholic and Apostolic Church, he decided that the Bishop of Rome was to be the leader or the Pope. Now that's how the whole thing came about. And then, during the next 200 years, Christians decided to punish or even kill any non-believers. They closed down all the Roman schools. They banned the teaching of any of the Roman religions. They banned even the teaching of reading and writing. The people were made illiterate. Why? So they wouldn't be able to read the Bible and read the truth. Well, if you call the Bible the truth. They were just made completely ignorant, and that lasted for just about 1,500 years. And then you get the Inquisition. Began about 1100 or the 11th century, where countless of millions of people were tortured and executed, usually by burning at the stake, for questioning or dared to question the Pope. Consequently then, no knowledge of science was allowed by the Roman Catholic Church, no investigation into science. So it's only really in the last couple of 100 years, after the big split within Christianity, don't forget Christianity is now split into, what, 38,000 sects? And then a lot of people left the church and decided to think for themselves because they were then free to think for themselves. And they found out that everything in the Bible was just bullshit. There's no God who created the world in 6 days. That's all bullshit. There was no creation of man and woman, no Adam and Eve. That's all bullshit. So where does it leave you? Just completely in oblivion. Now what's happening in America at the moment is that 50% of the people believe in creation, will not accept evolution. Now scientists are getting exceptionally worried about this, because there are children coming out through the school system who know no science, and all they know is the Bible, and if anything is mentioned about the creation of the world and that, compared with evolution, they say, oh, there's no evolution. The Bible said the world was created in 7 days, or 6 days, and the Lord rested on the 7th day. Now what a load of crap that is. Okay, the universe experienced a Big Bang, according to what scientific knowledge has found out lately. It's about 13.7 billion years ago. At the moment science doesn't know where that Big Bang is, but one of the advantages science has over the Bible, it doesn't have to rely on what they call the God gap. People that don't know what happened say God done it. They get away with it like that. Science bases itself on investigation, experiment, testing, before it comes to any sort of conclusion as to what happened. And until it does that, it says, we don't know, but we will find out. Oh, right, now what about these creationists? They say God created everything from nothing. Anybody knows anything about the first law of dynamics? Matter, energy can be neither created nor destroyed. Matter or energy can't be made from nothing. It can't turn back to nothing. It seems as though the logical conclusion is that matter energy has existed always, through eternity. And this universe we're in now most likely would have come from a Big Bang, from the collapse of a previous universe. Or the matter collapsed, to near a singularity, and then exploded and expanded out again exactly the way this one did. Now, I'm not saying that is exactly what happened, but it's the most logical explanation. Now, why are so many people in America refusing to believe that and saying, oh, the Bible is right? Where's it leaving America at the moment? It's leaving it as a country that's 50% completely brainless as far as science is concerned. It almost seems that America is reverting back to a primitive country. Now what's got to happen is that they've got to stop the religious right, the fundamentalists, from interfering in the education of American children, interfering in politics, interfering in the White House. We don't want a Christian in the White House. And I say this, don't forget I'm Australian, but I'm sitting here just looking at what's happening to America. As far as Australia is concerned, this is not happening here. We have freedom of religion and freedom from religion. We could be free to not believe that there's a God. We don't get kicked out of our houses or kicked out of our towns like happens in some parts of the Bible about the United States because we don't believe in God. I can tell anybody in the street I don't believe in God, and 99% of the reaction I get is the same. I don't believe in God either. In fact, the question, do you believe in God, is a loaded question. That assumes there's a God. I don't say, no, I don't believe in God. I say, there is no God in which to believe. Now, until Americans stop this religious crap and accept science and help to develop science, to find out everything that's needed to be found out, and the sooner that Congress funds NASA properly so that they can carry on their research, and their research is most important to the survival of the human race. We will have to migrate out into space, into other worlds. It's inevitable. Wake up, America. Give up this religious crap and get a bit of sense. Thanks for listening. I hate to question, but I must ask about that video of the Schnecker organ in Jacobikirk in Hamburg. Is that the console from that organ? It doesn't look anything like it to me, considering I know that it's been restored since. But this console looks nothing like one they'd put on as a restoration. Now, I played this organ as a guest of Heinz Wunderlich in 1968, and it looked nothing like that. And even considering doing a restoration, I doubt whether they'd remove those famous stop heads, the heads of people who were involved in rescuing the organ from the war. The organ had to be removed from the church and put into a shelter, and unfortunately they couldn't save the case and the case pipes and the console. So the console is a reproduction, but it's a faithful reproduction of the original. Now here's a photograph from a book that I bought in the church. As soon as I can light it up properly. Now, as you can see, there's certainly no sign of a short octave there, and that distinctly shows those heads on the stop knobs. Now, the console in the video is nothing like that. There's certainly old keys, and nothing like the keys that are on the Jacobi Kirk Schnitger organ, and the stop knobs are not on angled stop jams. So I'd like an answer to that, please. Are you sure that's the console from that particular organ? The casework looks like that organ. I know that's been restored, but the console said it doesn't look like it. So here we go. that's very good. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Now I wish that could happen to every Bible in the world. So that is the end of the evil, rotten, holy Bible shit. Hello my friends. I thought I'd do this video regarding my cancer and how I feel with it. Quite frankly, I feel bloody awful. I'm in the middle of chemotherapy. It's for lymphoma and the blood tests are not showing too good. I've got to get another CAT scan next week and that'll tell us all about it. Just to give you an idea of what's happening to me, I've lost about 11 kilograms since I started this treatment, and this shows just what I look like now. Not a very pretty sight, is it? The only problem is that you feel absolutely tired all the time when you do a simple task and then you've got to go and rest. And as you can hear, it's affecting my throat and my swallowing. I can eat only very, very soft foods, and any foods like, say, a chunky soup, I have to run them through the blender to get them softer. And I don't enjoy eating. I don't look forward to meals when I've got to eat, otherwise I will waste away to nothing. As I said, the prognosis is not brilliant. I haven't been given a time of death or anything yet. I'm hoping that it'll last another few years. That's why I'm continuing all this treatment and going through all the pain. It could be worthwhile. And what have I got to lose? If I don't, I'll go through all the pains of death. And if I carry on with the treatment, it might give me another few years of life. So that's the situation now. I'll keep you informed as to how things are going. And one thing, please do not suggest quack alternative treatments like cannabis. First of all, they're forbidden in Australia, and they, even if you can get them, they cost an arm and a leg. None of my treatment is costing me anything. I'm on a public health system and it's brilliant. And I trust the doctors with my life. And if they don't succeed, it's not their fault. Nature takes its course. We've all got to die sometime. So that's my outlook. I'm positive. So until next time, may your gods go with you. Problem is, there's no God. So stop worrying. Hello my friends, I thought I'd do this video regarding my cancer and how I feel with it. Quite frankly, I feel bloody awful. I'm in the middle of chemotherapy. It's for lymphoma, and the blood tests are not showing too good. I've got to get another CAT scan next week, and that'll tell us all about it. Just to give you an idea of what's happening to me, I've lost about 11 kilograms since I started this treatment, and this shows just what I look like now. Not a very pretty sight, is it? The only problem is that you feel absolutely tired all the time when you do a simple task and then you've got to go and rest. And as you can hear, it's affecting my throat and my swallowing. I can eat only very, very soft foods, and any foods like, say, a chunky soup, I have to run them through the blender to get them softer. And I don't enjoy eating. I don't look forward to meals when I've got to eat, otherwise I will waste away to nothing. As I said, the prognosis is not brilliant. I haven't been given a time of death or anything yet. I'm hoping that it'll last another few years. That's why I'm continuing all this treatment and going through all the pain. It could be worthwhile. And what have I got to lose? If I don't, I'll go through all the pains of death. And if I carry on with the treatment, it might give me another few years of life. So that's the situation now. I'll keep you informed as to how things are going. And one thing, please do not suggest quack alternative treatments like cannabis. First of all, they're forbidden in Australia,
and they, even if you can get them, they cost an arm and a leg. None of my treatment is costing me anything. I'm on a public health system and it's brilliant. And I trust the doctors with my life. And if they don't succeed, it's not their fault. Nature takes its course. We've all got to die sometime. So that's my outlook. I'm positive. So until next time, may your gods go with you. Problem is, there's no God. So stop worrying.